Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. Thank you for joining me today. The video today is going to be a little bit different to the one I had planned. I know many of you watching, not just here in the UK but across the world, will currently be at home, either self-isolating or on lockdown or just being mindful about socially distancing and the message that we all need to stay at home at the moment. And that's making life very different for many of us. I'm very lucky. I work from home, so I can be here in the studio and continue with a lot of my work. Obviously a lot of things have been cancelled, a lot of exhibitions and art fairs etc. have been cancelled, and that brings problems. But I'm lucky that I can spend my time working and getting absorbed in what I'm doing and taking my mind off things. We're also very fortunate that my husband's a farmer, so his routine hasn't really changed. He's still working here on the farm very much as normal, apart from things like getting suppliers etc. But I know a lot of you who usually work away from the home and are now confined to the home with not much to do. It's quite a challenge and quite difficult. So the real reason for this video was I got a message off one of my friends the other day. She has her own business which she's had to close down temporarily, and so she's used to being a very busy person every day. She's used to looking after her customers and her staff and being busy all the time, and she's now found herself at home with very little to do. And so she said she would like to take up drawing as a pastime and get going with the drawing, and did I have any tips on the materials that she would need on where to start. So I thought really that would be a useful video to do for everybody. Where to start with your drawing and your sketching and what things you need. Now I'm going to be very basic here because my answer to her was all you really need is a pencil and a notepad. So something like this and your pencil. But if you don't have a notepad, we've all got paper around the house. It might have lines on it, it might be the back of a cereal box, it might be some old wallpaper that's left over that you can draw on the back of. You will have something at home that you can draw on. And if you've not got a pencil in the house, which I doubt many of you won't have a pencil in the house, I'm sure you've got a biro, you've got some felt tips, maybe you've got some children's crayons. As long as you've got something that you can make a mark with and you've got some paper to put that mark on, you can start with your drawing. So you can be an absolute beginner and just work with what you've got in the house. You don't need to go out and buy things. So just have a look round and see what you've got that you can draw on and what you can use. My pencils are 2B, but you can use any pencil that you can find. And start by drawing everyday objects, things that are around you all the time. So I would recommend something like a cup to begin with, an apple, a pepper, an onion, anything that's around you, and do this regularly. And if we have a routine, it makes life easier at the moment as well. So I would suggest you do something every day and you set a time where you're going to sit and draw something every day. And don't overwhelm yourself with lots of subjects. If you sit in your living room and look around, you might see lots and lots of things there, but just focus on one thing. It might be a book that's been put to the side, it might be the clock, it might be a plant, it might be a flower on your window box. And if you look out of the window, there'll be all sorts of things there, but just reduce it right down and pick one thing. It might be a set of traffic lights, it might even be a traffic cone, it might be the window of the house opposite, but just pick one small thing to draw and concentrate on doing that. You may have wondered why I didn't mention an eraser in the list of things that you would need. This is because the things that you're going to be sketching and drawing every day in this period of time are just for you. They're your practice. You're not going to be showing them. They don't need to be a perfect artwork every time. Do not put pressure on yourself. Just relax and enjoy what you're doing. And if a line is wrong, just ignore it and go over it and work on top of it. Don't worry about erasing things and having everything neat and tidy and putting pressure on yourself for it to be absolutely pristine. You're sketching, you're learning. Date things, put the date on when you've finished your drawing, and then you can look back in 6 months' time and see how you've progressed. Lots of people are nervous about making that first mark on a blank piece of paper, especially as beginners. But those nerves will go away when you start thinking of it as practice and allow yourself to make mistakes. When people say that they can't draw or they're worried about drawing, it's usually because they're thinking about their hands and the coordination. And drawing and art isn't about what you can do with your hands, it's about what you do with your eyes. The problem is, as we get older especially, we've got a lifetime of assumptions. We see something and we assume that shape because we've been used to it all our lives, and our brain fills in the gaps. So the one tip I can give to you as you start your drawing is to rely on your eyes, not what your brain assumes. Really look at what you're seeing. Look at the shape of each line, look at the length of each line that you're drawing, and break your subjects down into lines and shapes. Don't be daunted by thinking, I am drawing an apple or an onion, whatever it is that you're drawing. Just look and think, I can see a curve there, I can see a line there, and that line is that long. Use your eyes and you'll soon get the hang of it. And correct yourself as you go along and look back. But also put your work to one side. When it comes to lunchtime, leave your work on the side, go and relax for an hour. When you come back, you will look at that work differently with fresh eyes, and the mistakes will jump out at you more. Another tip for noticing mistakes is to take a quick photograph of your work on your phone. That way, I don't know why, but sometimes when we've got that image on the phone as a little photograph, the mistakes jump out at you more. You seem to be able to see them more. So just take a photograph of it. Also, look at it upside down. If it doesn't look convincing as the image as it's supposed to be when it's upside down, there's probably something a little bit awry. And your eye is very good at picking it up. So start and really rely on your eye and train your eye to look at things. And you'll see what I mean about that when you start doing that and concentrating. And the great thing about drawing and sketching is that whilst you're doing that, whilst you're completely absorbed in getting that likeness, looking for where all the shadows and the highlights and those shapes are, you're really not thinking about anything else that might be worrying you at the moment. Your mind is completely blank of everything else and you're just really concentrating on that, and that's really good for you to relax. So you can probably tell by the way I've been speaking, the main piece of advice I have for you is just to do it, just to get going with it. Nobody's judging you, nobody's giving you marks out of 10. It's for you to learn and have a go. And the more you have a go, the more you will improve. The only way to learn to draw is to get on and do it and repeat it and keep improving and look back at your work. So I hope you found that useful. I'm going to go and sketch some daffodils now. You find something around your own house to sketch, and as you go along and you progress, and in a couple of weeks' time when you've done those smaller objects and you're building up your confidence, go on to something a little bit bigger. Maybe even get some reference photos off the internet and expand what you're doing. But to begin with, keep it simple, start with one apple. Next week you might be doing a little arrangement of a few different fruits in a basket or something, but just keep building on it gradually. Look for the form, the shapes, and then start and look at where the shadows and the highlights are and put that in. I'll put some links underneath in the description to some things that I think you might find useful. A couple of videos I've done in the past on starting drawing and some things off my blog for beginners. So stay well everybody and enjoy your painting and drawing, and bye for now.